What's up, Internet World? We're the News 19 Nerds. I'm Leroy.
I'm Michael.
And we're here to review, finally, thank you. Appreciate it. Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. I have been waiting for this movie. I love a good zombie flick. This was fun.
This was...
He's a hater.
I might be a hater. You know what? The movie was perfectly fine. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, this thing was incredible. But
neither was I.
It was definitely, this is a Zack Snyder movie. And I'm perfectly fine with that after seeing the Snyder cut of Justice League.
Don't.
And seeing...
They're too set, like...
They're not.
Oh.
They're really not.
Don't, man. Come on.
They're not. You know why? Because it has some of the same things that Zack Snyder loves to do. This movie probably could have been 40 minutes shorter. Easily.
No.
Yeah, it could have been.
Honestly...
This movie was 2 hours, 2.5 hours. It probably could have been like an hour 50.
I feel like they did not use the time wisely. I'll agree.
Sure.
I'll agree that there were some things that could have been cut, but to me there were things that should have been added. And maybe as you see things should have been cut, I think things should have been added, and those things that could have been added could replace the things you wanted cut.
I mean, maybe this is a TV show, not a movie, honestly, and let them just have more time to deal with some character development stuff.
See, for me, no. This was perfectly. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, we'll get into it when we get to spoilers. I like the way the movie sets everything up. I think that's a very clever way to kind of get you into the world of what this is. Because when we did the reaction, the question I wanted to know was, do these people know that a zombie apocalypse is going on? Are they aware of what's happening? Or are they just walking into this blind? And the story sets you up for what that's going to be.
Yes.
So it's like, I think it does a good job of, okay, this is where we are in the world. The kind of in media res about something happening. Okay, we're here. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. I mean, it looks fun. It looks great. The colors are really popping. I feel like at times the movie's kind of at odds with itself, whether it wants to be like just straight comedy or maybe a little more serious. And I kind of wish it had picked a tone either way, personally. Like if I had to review it, I'd probably say like a 3.5 out of 5.
I'd say that.
Yeah, I'd say 3.5 out of 5. Reciprocator saws or whatever the thing is that Amari Hardwick's supposed to be using. That's what I would say.
It wasn't the jaws of life, but I've seen those used in cutting people out of, like how he used it.
Sure.
Cutting people out of cars. I know I've seen. I wonder if it's used to cut concrete. I would love to know if anybody out there knows exactly what kind of saw that was. I thought that was a very interesting tool to use in a zombie movie. I am. As much as I like it, I can't go above a 3.5. But I teeter. I want to give it a 4, but I come back down because of the problems I have with it. But I really liked this movie. Like I really enjoyed it. To me, this is box office fun. Like that.
Okay,
like
I'll give you that.
Like it was. If you don't go too deep into it, it's just fun.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of old school movies like. Here's this team of unstoppable badassery, and it's like, who's gonna die in this movie? And that's what you're looking like. Who's gonna die? How are they gonna die? What is like? Who's gonna survive at the end of this? And that's what I enjoyed about the movie. It was very much. It gave me what I wanted.
Spoilers.
Let's get to it.
Spoilers.
Wait. Gotta.
We talk about justice for Barb and Stranger Things. I need justice for Gita.
Ooh.
I'm sorry. I need justice for this woman. Is it Gita or Greta?
Gita. It's Gita.
Gita is a pivotal point of this movie.
For a character.
For a character.
For Ella Purnell.
Right.
Kate Ward.
Kate is all about trying to find Gita, trying to save her kids. At the end of the movie, they don't make it clear whether Gita died, whether she died or lived.
In the helicopter.
Yeah. And maybe Dave Bautista was saying this is money for Gita's kids, so maybe that infers that she did die. But I don't feel like they did a good enough job of showing Gita or anything. They showed Tig Notaro's character being impaled by one of the helicopter blades. Where'd Gita at?
So the character motivations for a lot of the motivations for these characters was not handled well, I think. The problem with this movie is, once again, and I hate saying it because I actually enjoy his movies. I really did like Dawn of the Dead. I thought that was a very good like introduction, and I almost forgot Zack Snyder was one of the originators of the fast zombie movement. Him and 28 Days Later, Danny Boyle. I forgot that like as I'm watching this, I was like, oh, he moved quick. The writing of his characters or what they're given is not well done, and you have a smorgasbord of great actors, and you don't give them a lot to work with.
So I don't really know how zombie movies work. I get it that people are going to die. Does like the whole cast die in a zombie movie?
Sometimes.
Oh, okay. It's like everybody died in this movie, or if they didn't die, they were gonna die, except for Kate. I was like, so that's normal? Yeah. Okay, cool.
That's why I said it's like you want like who dies, how do they die?
Yeah.
And who survives. Like that's one of those like you want this character to make it.
Yeah.
And then they don't, you're like, oh. And then like the bad guy and you're like, no, he's not supposed to, and you're like, yes. Oh.
Some of the big death twist like when they tried to make this emotional beat between Scott Ward
and Maria
Cruz, I feel like that came out of nowhere.
Really?
I thought they were just homies. See, I don't think enough was set up that they had an interesting past. They were just like, oh yeah, we could have been something more. Like, and I've said on our reviews before, I'm a normal dumb guy about these kind of movies. I never see stuff coming. As soon as they try to make this relationship, something like, oh, you're gonna die.
Really? See, I did not see her.
I was like,
I didn't see her.
What is this? Because
I didn't see her dying until the elevator opened, and I was like, oh, she go get it. And then when the way she got it, I was like, man, that rough.
Didn't shock me. I laughed.
Really?
I did. I was like, this is so dumb.
Really? See,
I wasn't shocked by that.
I was the total opposite.
Okay.
I was like, oh no. I was like, don't do it. I was like, oh, we were about to have a great character beat, and I was like, they're gonna make it to the end and have a little nice oh.
See, I felt like this movie kind of telegraphed some of the deaths where every time they had a deep character beat, that was right before somebody died. For me, I was like, oh.
Well, see, they did telegraph because. So let's start from the beginning. To me, I'm gonna be honest with you. The opening of the movie to me was some of the best.
I thought that was fun.
That opening, not the military part. The way, to me, the part, because that was just dumb. And I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I have problems with that opening military scene where they're like, and the happy couple are driving. One, no military is transporting a biological weapon like that without a spotter drone. Like that, just like how,
because the spotter would have seen the car coming.
Yes.
Hey, y'all need to stop or turn or something.
So I have really major problems with some of the points in this movie in the sense of how like that should have been better. That's as much money as they spent. That should have been done better.
Okay.
The whole idea when he was like on the phone and she's like, "Get the F out of there," and he just lackadaisically, "Hey man, get away from," like, that's not like get away from there, don't touch that. Right. Like you tell your kid. She's like, "Get the F out of there." Mm-hmm. And I feel like where was the containment team if something happened? Like to me, that whole setup was just I felt like that was really piss poor done.
Also, so the main alpha zombie was Zeus, right? That was
yeah.
Mm-hmm. I thought he infected more of those soldiers, but I guess he only infected 2 and killed the others.
Well, see, that's the thing. He ripped off the mouth of one. It looked like he might have bit a few of them, but again, I have to go back and look.
Yeah.
The problem I don't have a problem with the alphas. I really felt like from a military standpoint, just from knowing how the military operates recently, we know that a convoy of that size and that magnitude moving quietly through the desert would have had more with it to prevent that. Like, I know we rag on the military about a lot of stuff and in the movies. That just was piss poor. So I have a problem with that. But with that being said, the way the movie started with the credits, was amazing. The character introductions.
Yeah.
Shout out to Soccer Mom. Soccer Mom, I fell in love with her just from her introduction. And the way she went out, I'm not gonna lie, hurt me. Like, when she grabbed her daughter, I was like, I understood where she was coming from, but I really wish she'd have pushed her away. Yeah. And I was mad that little girl ran. And when that thing was coming down, I thought she was going to at least get away. Out. And I was like, oh.
Yeah. I liked the whole beginning, and I kind of wish the movie was more like that. Again, to me, I felt like it was two different tones where it was either going to be kind of lighthearted fun. Like, I really thought we were going to get more of a heist movie than we did.
You thought it was going to be more like Zombieland.
Yeah, or like a Shaun of the Dead, maybe. But this was, I mean, I was okay with the horror and the graphics and stuff. I just kind of, in my mind, I thought it was going to be a little bit lighter and more campier, I guess. And it kind of, like halfway through, maybe not halfway through, but it just definitely switched to a pure zombie movie, which, to be fair, that's not me. That's nothing Zack Snyder did. That's just what I thought was going to happen.
Well, I think also, too, because Dawn of the Dead, it had humor in it, but it was very dark humor, very macabre humor. I liked the humor in it.
I really liked Maury Hardwick and the German guy. I liked the chemistry between Zack Cracker and them. They were fun.
I did. I honestly wanted to see more of them.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Dieter, Matthias Sweg, something German.
Nope. Won't do it. And that might be Matthias.
What did I say?
You said Matthias. I think it might be Matthias. I don't know. Whatever. I can't pronounce it.
We might want to look up and be like, hey, man, what's your name?
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed him. I really enjoyed a lot of these characters. I just felt like they did not do a good job with them. Hiroki Sanada.
He is in everything recently.
I felt robbed.
Because you thought he was going to be in it more?
I thought he was going to be in it more. I understand he was the billionaire, yada, yada, yada. I really expected him to be in it more. I did like...
Is Theo Rossi ever a good guy?
He was a good guy in...
Sons of Anarchy?
Yeah.
Or Minds or whatever?
Yeah, Sons of Anarchy.
Okay, cool. Because I was just thinking of this, and then I was thinking Shades on Luke Cage. I was like, you always bad. Well, but I don't know enough of his filmography. So
Sons of Anarchy, you felt for him.
Okay.
So to give you a little spoiler, Sons of Anarchy, it's a biker gang. They in their charter, all the members are supposedly have to be white. He's biracial, and that he doesn't want to get kicked out of the gang because he is of mixed race. He's a biracial kid, and that is used against him to do some horrible things.
Okay.
And he is a very sympathetic character in the show, in my opinion. Some people may disagree, think that he deserved what happened to him, but I really I loved him, and I enjoy this new turn of seeing him as this kid in Sons of Anarchy and kind of growing to love him and like this, and seeing him as a villain later on. So okay. I'm kind of enjoying it. But the characters like him and Kate Ward and then Burt Cummings, that sounds like it's just a dirtbag name, doesn't it? Burt. I feel like they were archetypes that were used instead of fleshing them out as good characters. Because I'm going to be honest with you, Kate annoyed me. From the day she walked on screen, her character annoyed me because Gita told her not to play with him. And was like, what are you doing? You know what happens. And the thing that I enjoyed about this movie is the mechanics worked. The idea of the temperature checks, they can easily use that against you. Sure. I thought that was really well done. I thought the introduction of Bad Bunny, who wasn't actually Bad Bunny, because I don't think they could afford to get Bad Bunny. I thought his character in the social media, with him bringing his crew, his social media people with him, I thought that was very interesting. I thought that was well done. I just felt like they didn't do a good job with the characterizations of these people they created and their interactions. Garrett Dillahunt and his ulterior motive.
I'm always a fan of Garrett Dillahunt. I really liked him in what's the comedy? Raising Hope. And
then he went on to be in the Mindy Project.
Yeah, I like him in that. I really liked him on Burn Notice. I like that guy a lot.
See, I love him because he always played a racist Southern lawyer in Law and Order. So to see his characterization from being like this horrible person to seeing him be funny in Raising Hope and then hilarious, it's like his range is amazing. However, he wasn't given justice because they set him up to be this outlier, this person who watches. And I was like, Scott Ward's character basically gave him free range, and it was like there was no pushback.
Yeah.
And there was no really like
the only person that pushed back
was Chambers.
Dead. Yeah, she died.
Shout out to Chambers' character.
She was cool.
So Chambers' character is played by Samantha Wynn. You've seen her before. She's a stunt woman.
Okay.
Same thing with Soccer Mom. I really love the idea of giving these stunt workers speaking roles and acting roles, and not just making them these stunt people.
Sure.
To me, they were I will say this. Those two women were two of the best characters in this movie.
Okay.
And they shined brighter than a lot of other people in this movie. I really love the Coyote, aka Lily.
Yeah.
I thought she did a very good job.
Do you think there were too many characters in the movie? I feel like maybe if there weren't as many characters, maybe we could add more character beats for them.
I think honestly, what you were saying is that this movie could have been shorter. I think the idea of trying to introduce the alphas with the military, I think that wasn't handled well. And I think you can see some of the missteps throughout, because it was like, so the conversation between Scott Ward and his daughter Kate on surface was okay. But when you realize that she was upset and she was mad, and like that, it was right there. It was almost like they almost had it, and that's how I felt about the whole movie. You almost had that chemistry. That why is she mad? But I did I liked it for what it was.
Yeah.
It just wasn't there. This movie reminded me of some of the characterization we got mad with Winter Falcon, where they made sure their main characters were handled well, but some of the side characters weren't written as well as they could have been.
Yeah.
And they got the action well in this, but maybe some of the writing fell by the wayside. And that's partially because some of the writers that they had was Zack Snyder and two people, Shay Hatton and Joby Harold. And their writing credits are not that long. And they're not the movies that they're writing for. Let's look at it. John Wick, Chapter 3, Parabellum. That doesn't really need that much writing.
No.
It's like,
yeah, you just want to see John Wick going around smashing people stuff.
You got like some of these things that's from Joby. If you look at that's from Shay. You look at Joby's writing credentials. He's been mainly known as a producer. He's only written 5 things. The future Obi-Wan series, Army of the Dead, King Arthur, your favorite movie, Awake, and an Untitled Transformers project that's in pre-production. So he doesn't have a lot of writing credit under his belt. And we know Zack Snyder's main criticism is his writing of his characters. That's one of his biggest one of the biggest things that people critique about him is his writing, especially for female characters.
Yeah. It's weird because I just wish there were more time. I wish the movie was shorter, but at the same time, I wish there was more development of characters. So I guess that's probably it's all in how you balance how things are worked out. Maybe if the writing is better, it's not necessarily quippier or whatever. Just if it's more succinct, you maybe understand those characters faster, so you move along with them more. I don't know.
I think part of the problem is you started off with such a very good storytelling introduction in the credits. Like the way that story was told, and the way you understand these weren't soldiers. Like when you think about that for a second, and that's the thing I think they didn't do a good job with. It was one line. These weren't soldiers. These were regular people who stepped up to the plate, kicked ass, took names, and they are broken from it.
And saved the Secretary of Defense.
Secretary of Defense. I don't think people understand. Like, people who are trained to fight wars have PTSD. People who are trained to be killers, who are trained to defend whatever nation, whatever it is, some of those people do not come out on the other side. These are people who had regular jobs, who stepped up, saw a need, and they rose to the challenge.
Yeah.
That to me should have been a little bit more. That should have been, because your three main people: Amari Hardwick, Dave Bautista, and I want to get her name correctly.
Ana de something. Ana de la Reguera.
Yeah, you say that. I don't. Yeah. So you got Vanderho, Maria Cruz, and Scott Ward. Dude, those are your three people who came back from the zombie war, so to speak.
Sure.
I felt like that should have been. They should have handled those three characters better, especially since all three of them, spoiler alert, they died. I think that should have been handled better, and the other characters were ancillary, and they could have been zombie fodder, which they ended up being.
Yeah.
But I just wanted a little bit more. But with that being said, I really enjoyed it. I really did. Chambers is just the knife work with the flashlight, the gun.
That was cool.
I was like, when it was, what that reminded me of?
What?
When she went loud, it reminded me of Aliens.
Okay.
When Drake and old girl, I'm trying to remember, Vasquez, when they were like, it's time to rock and roll, when they brought them guns back, when she was like, it was time to go loud, she moved like water. Okay. And I thought that was amazing.
I thought she moved well, and then one of the Alphas that Scott was fighting.
Yes.
The way he was moving the choreography of that was very cool. I like the idea of a zombie baby. That's something I don't see a lot of zombie movies.
See, that's
cool.
That's why you need to watch Dawn of the Dead. That's not the first time we've seen that.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's that, and that may be why it's very hard to follow up some of the great zombie movies. When I talk about Night of the Living Dead, one of the greatest movies ever made, not just in its term of zombie movie. I'm talking ever made. It's in my top 10. To follow up Dawn of the Dead, and I say that because Zack Snyder made his bones on Dawn of the Dead.
Sure.
It was a very graphic but very poignant movie. I'm trying to think of some other ones. 28 Days Later. The original Dawn of the Dead.
Granted, I don't watch a lot of zombie movies, but I do know they're usually a lot of social commentary. This one talked about it danced around the idea of immigration, but it didn't really hit on it as hard as I thought it would have, based on, I guess, years in my mind of social critiques for zombie movies. Mm-hmm. So do you think it hit on it hard enough? Or
I think it didn't. I think this movie is like, this movie to me was an AP story.
Sure.
Where an AP story is the bare bones, the nuts and bolts of what happened.
Right.
It does not go into the individual people in that story.
Okay.
That's where your larger, for those of you who know what the AP is, the AP covers has far-reaching tentacles everywhere all over the world.
Yeah.
They do a good job of giving you, here's the cliff notes.
Right. Now you got to go do the work.
There you go. And that's what this was. I think this was the AP story that I think, and again, I think when you have people who these are the three people who are attached here on IMDb for the writing credits: Zack Snyder, Shay Hatton, and Joby Harold. Mm-hmm. I'm not knocking their work. I'm quite sure they're very good at what they do. However, none of those three people have you ever heard have knocked it out of the park when it comes to writing something. And it's probably hard to tell an auteur like Zack Snyder, who's probably in charge, we should go this route. Mm-hmm. Especially when he's banning chairs from the set.
Oh, yeah.
It's like it's probably kind of hard to be like, hey, maybe the motivation should be this. And I don't know what Zack Snyder's like on set. I know some people talk about him very highly. He probably is a nice guy. I will say that in his defense, I like the fact that adding Tig Notaro into this movie and taking out Chris D'Elia. Yeah. And that cost them money. Yeah. And I wonder how much money taking him out.
I gotta say, they did a good job, because even like you could tell that she's kind of like not necessarily in the scene. Yeah. But I think it didn't take me out of the movie at all.
No. But I will say this. I wonder, having to go back and redo scenes with her, would that, in other words, if she was originally casted in the beginning and you had this person, would you have had more time to then go back and look at the movie and say, let's change this, let's cut this, let's do that, because you had to take out so much of Crystalia.
Right.
And so that I applaud Zack Snyder for doing that, because he didn't have to. They could have easily just ran the movie as is, like some other people have done in the past. But I'm a fan of Tig Notaro. I think she's one of the greatest additions to Star Trek Discovery. She is hilarious in that. Yeah. And I think she's a breath of fresh air in whatever role she's in. So I was really appreciative of seeing her, but it just wasn't tight enough. And I say that, I still think right now, remember Zombieland? Where do you place Zombieland 2 when it comes to this? Because these are the last two zombie movies, big budget zombie movies that have come out recently.
I mean, I would probably place this above Zombieland 2.
See, I would place Zombieland 2 above this.
Okay.
Only because I thought the characters were done a little better because there weren't that many.
Also, did it help that you had a movie to know them beforehand?
No.
Okay.
Because I think the motivations were very clear.
Okay.
Tennessee wanted to leave. Columbus wanted to marry. I can't remember what Emma Stone's character was. And Abigail was when she just dipped. I thought the motivations were very clear, and I thought the writing was well done. I didn't like the end, but that's just me, because I'm not giving up guns to go hang out with hippies.
Right.
I don't care what's going, like zombie apocalypse, and you're melting down all the firearms. Are you stupid? Like, no, that part to me was just so far fetched. I could believe everything else in that movie except that. I really could. You weren't gonna get me to buy that. But this movie was fun, and I needed a lot of fun. And I say that I'm gonna watch it again. I'm probably gonna watch it multiple times. I thought Batista did a very good job. I thought the self-awareness of characters were very good. Batista saying, "Yeah, I'm a fry cook." Like, and when he told Hiroki Sanada's character, "I don't like you, but I'm in a pinch, so I got to do what I got to do."
I thought there was going to be more made about how that $50 million was going to be split up, because the way he's like, "Oh yeah, we'll take
the lion's share of the
yeah, most of it, and then we'll split up." It's like, where is this money adding up? Then I realized, oh, it doesn't matter because they're all going to die, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I think he didn't think a lot of those people were going to make it.
That's true.
Especially when they had their meeting session, and the dude was like, "I'm out," and I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
And so he knew a couple of them were not going to make it. My problem with it was I felt like they did not take enough weapons in, because I feel like somebody should have been lugging a 50 cal.
somebody should have used that circular saw.
Somebody should have been carrying a minigun.
But
where was the minigun?
Yeah.
Like you're carrying the saw. I get it. Where was the minigun? I'm going in a zombie apocalypse quarantine zone. I'm bringing a minigun.
Yeah.
I might have to put it on a wheelbarrow, but it's coming with me.
Yeah.
But I will say this. The fight scenes and the action were very well done. I believe that was a zombie tiger. I believe Valentine was real. I really did.
Okay.
I did.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was a very fun movie, and I know we seem to crap on it a lot, but we're just being critical of it because we really expected a lot coming from Zack Snyder. I did.
Oh, okay. I
did. I expected.
This movie was what I thought it was going to be.
Really? See,
yes. I was like, all right.
I expected more because this was his movie after Justice League, and I know that this was his sequel to Dawn of the Dead, and I love Dawn of the Dead. Like, I love that movie. I just really expected this to be... See, now I got to go back and watch Dawn of the Dead. But I like the idea of this movie being in that universe. Okay. And I really like it.
Have they said that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because remember, the first movie is in Las Vegas, and then they...
No, I don't remember that. I haven't seen it.
Oh, that's right. You didn't see it. So the first movie's set in Las Vegas, and then the whole... that movie is basically another group of people in this situation, and then this is 4 years after that. So they've already quarantined off Las Vegas and been like, what do we do? And we know that Zack Snyder talked about there being a sequel to this, and we know Amari Hardwick is now probably going to be the alpha because he was bit on the plane.
Right.
Another thing. One of my biggest pet peeves was Kate's character walking around sleeveless. And I was like, come on. Like, that bothered me. Like, that the entire time.
Yeah.
And I'm not about like, well, you can't wear that. I'm like, you like tactically.
Gotta protect yourself.
Tactically. Because you saw Amari got bit. So, like, that just tactically, that bothered me. But I really enjoyed it. I'd probably go watch it again tonight if I'm not watching something else or playing Warframe. But I really, hats off to Zack Snyder. I really appreciate this movie. I hope he gets the money to do a sequel.
I would see a sequel. Yeah.
I want to see, because that flight was going to Mexico City. So when he yelled the F word at the end, you were like, oh, thank God. Because I want to see what happens in this universe.
That's it?
Do you want Kate to come back?
Sure, why not?
Really?
Why not?
She annoyed me. I would rather like to see the characters from the first one who survived to come back.
Who did survive?
I'm not gonna tell you. You gotta watch it.
Oh, okay.
Because I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Okay.
I think you'll be pleasantly surprised who's in it, because you're gonna see people you don't normally see them in those roles. So I really want you to watch it so you can be like, oh, that's a good role for you.
Okay. Cool. Let us know what you thought of Army of the Dead here in the YouTube comments. You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, WLTX.com. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell so know we put up new videos.
Let us know what the best part for you in this movie was.
There we go.
Yeah, I want to hear from more fans.
Okay. And we out.